Okay. Hi, hello, Wagwan. Welcome to another episode of the group chat. Today in the group chat, I have a new friend of mine, right? Everybody's my friend a little bit. And this is Tyson. Tyson can say hi to the people.
What's going on? Much love. What's up, Wagwan? Like she said. Yeah,
Hey, there we
yeah,
go. See,
yeah,
see.
yeah.
And funny enough, Tyson and I literally met today.
Yes.
So you guys are gonna get a fresh perspective. Because I love to share the dynamics between like the men and the women perspective for the sake of improving the family dynamics.
Mm.
So you guys are gonna get to know Tyson with me. All right, you ready for it? Let's go. Okay. So I want to take a few steps back here and again, the purpose of this episode is to, gain from the male perspective.
Mm.
So when you think about relationships, right, whether it be romantic or family, what's something that you wish people understood better about men?
Um, that we have emotions also. Sometimes we don't show it, but sometimes your words can hurt. Your words can hurt us, and you may say something in January, but we don't. It's been hurting us all year, and you may think just because you said it in January and it's June, we forgot.
Mm,
We didn't forget. It still hurt us. We have egos, and some men just really want to make you happy and provide for our family. And when we can't provide for our family or we can't make you happy, even though we may not show it, it's bothering. The good men,
fair.
the good men. I'm only going to speak about the men that's trying to do something. I can't speak for the other for the and what's a good man and what's a bad man is not up to my discretion. I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely get what you're
No
saying.
doubt. No
I'm
doubt.
glad that you opened up with that because I think that's one of the disconnects we see a lot here in the community for the most part is like assuming that men don't have emotions or a lot of men feel like they're not in a safe enough place to actually share their emotions.
Right.
Because a lot of times, women, sometimes we are the problem. They'll attack a man, whether he is being vulnerable and be like, oh, you need to toughen up. While
Right.
you being a little sassy, they
Right.
have the whole sassy men era thing going
Right.
on. And it's just like, those are some of the things of the problem.
Right.
Men have emotions just like women do, and
Right.
it's just expressed differently.
Right.
And it's important for us to start like learning how each individual express themselves or how we share our emotions so that way we can start to treat each other better
Absolutely.
and have more effective conversations and
Absolutely.
consider each other's feelings.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah.
totally agree. Because when it comes down to that opening up thing, somebody shares dark secrets with you or tells you their insecurities
Mm-hmm.
or anything, and you sit there and act like you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
and then you bring it up in an argument to make me feel bad.
Or throw it in your face later when you down.
Yeah, make me feel bad, or for your, just to make you feel good about yourself as a person. That's wrong, and that's when people don't want to open
But,
up. I'm not opening up to you ever again when you threw it in my face. I told you how that made me
mm,
feel. And instead of you keeping that and storing it in the vault and never bringing it up again, you throw it in my face as soon as you get mad. And that goes for men and women. We got to stop
mm-hmm.
doing that to each other,
Yes, hurting each other. It's like,
hurting each other. You knew that was an insecurity of mine. You knew that made me feel some type of way, but you still threw it up in my face because you got mad.
and now everybody has a wall up.
Yes,
Everybody has this wall up because everyone's defending themselves
yes,
from people who are, like you said earlier, right, between the difference between a good man and a bad man, or a good woman and a bad woman,
right,
right? That bad person's gonna take something that you shared and throw it in your face,
absolutely,
and then, like they say, you ruined that good person now for the next person. Just
right,
because that person did it to you, now you're in this next relationship, a
right,
new relationship, and because you also did not take the time to heal
right,
from that experience.
right,
So on both ends of it, right? We
mm,
have a duty to each other to treat each other well,
right,
and we have a duty to ourselves to heal when we are treated poorly,
right,
so that way we don't take that into the next relationship and assume that, oh, because the last guy did this or that, you're going to do the same thing. So off rip, I'm going to defend myself. I'm gonna come at you nasty. I'm gonna give
right,
you this attitude
right.
because you're not gonna do me like the last man did.
Right. But I don't
So,
even know you. I wasn't there. I don't know you, and I don't know him. It's really none of my business, whatever y'all went through. But I have to suffer because of things he did, and that's a sign of a person that's not healed.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that's like going to McDonald's and then going to Applebee's, and
Ooh.
Man, you ain't gonna serve me no Big Mac.
Ooh.
You ain't gonna hurt me with this Big Mac, are you, baby girl? They don't even sell Big Macs at Applebee's. What are you
Mm.
talking about?
I hope y'all
How
did
I'm
not
gonna
miss
hurt you
that.
with a Big Mac and we don't even serve it here? What are you talking about? So that I mean, that's real.
That is.
A
That
lot of
definitely
people
is.
is bringing past trauma into the new one.
Mm-hmm.
We are all hurt people, and we bringing our hurt into the new relationship, and they're hurting the person who didn't even deserve it.
And it's a continuous cycle.
Absolutely. And
And
that
then yeah.
wall up is real. You said everybody has a wall up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be vulnerable because nobody
Anymore.
wants to get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We
And it's hurting us.
ain't we living in
It's hurt us.
like a generation of hurt people with the wall up? I think everybody has their wall up. This isn't a loving. 2025 is not really the. I'm talking about as a whole. It's not really like a loving place. Like even on the radio, everybody on the radio is saying like, "Yeah, I don't need no man. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need no woman. I don't need no." It's like I think we kind of do need each
No, we definitely do. We
other.
definitely do. And I know you said 2025, but that has been going on for way too long.
And after the pandemic, I think it got worse.
I can see that
Yeah.
because we were in isolation and things shifted a lot. So I
Yeah.
can definitely see that. I do know, like, growing up, hearing a lot of women saying stuff like, oh, I don't need no man, da, da, da. And I never fully understood. Well, now that I'm older, I understand, right? Then I never fully understood, like, where all of that was coming from.
Right.
And of course, it's coming from a hurt place because you were
Right.
hurt by a man. Now, all of a sudden, you don't need a man.
Right. And not realizing there's billions of men in this planet.
Mm-hmm.
And just because 4 people hurt you in your city, that's not an excuse to hate all men or hate all women. Because men is I'm not
do the same.
One thing we can't do is I can't tear down one sex. I can't say it's all women. I can't say it's all men. I think as a community, as a collective, we are doing this to each other,
mm-hmm.
and this is real. We are doing this. We are getting on podcasts and we are tearing each other down. Nobody is leading by example. I feel on these podcasts. I think people are on these podcasts tearing each other down. This man is saying this woman ain't nothing. This woman is saying this man ain't nothing. And then it's like, part 2 tomorrow. We're going to tear each other down tomorrow? I bet. I'll see you tomorrow. It's like, what is the solution?
They're never on there just actually having conversations. They're always just attacking each other. And that's always a telltale sign right there. If y'all cannot have a conversation and disagree respectfully, it's saying that your perspective is coming from a hurt place.
Right.
And if your perspective is coming from a hurt place, it's going to continue to do more hurt.
Right.
Because if you don't heal from it, it's just going to continue to recreate itself.
I totally agree.
And in regards to as far as like, you're saying that you're seeing a lot of it now. Something that I've come to learn is that you also see more of like who you are. Absolutely. So when you start to shift your own dynamic, because there are also a lot of people who are having healthy relationships and having healthy conversations. Right. The only thing is that they're not on podcasts being loud about it. So we don't see a lot of it.
Your algorithm in life is negativity.
Ooh.
So all you see is negativity because that's your algorithm. That's what you are. That's what you're about. So all you got to talk about is something negative.
I really like that one. I never used the term algorithm, but I do know that like what you focus on is what you feed.
Exactly.
But when you do look at it like an algorithm, it's true.
You ever buy a new car and start to see that car?
Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. Yeah.
That's your algorithm.
Yeah.
So if all you know about is bad relationships, or you gonna and that's all you want to talk about and all you want to focus on, then it's like that's all you're gonna be around. That's all you're gonna attract. Oh my God, everybody's okay. So that you're gonna keep attracting that. I try to tell myself, and my imperfect. I call myself an imperfect man. And my imperfect self, I try to say stuff like, I attract positivity. I attract love. I attract
affirmation.
I attract it, and I just try to speak that onto my life. And I think that my life has been going better since I spoke that onto my life. Because we all have a past. We were not always positive. We were not always, you know what I'm saying? Nobody is God. Everybody has made mistakes before. And it's like, at this stage I'm at in my life now, I only want to talk about positivity. I don't want to just talk about the problem without an answer. I'm seeking solution to like the conversation we have right now.
And I'm glad that you said that because I'm sitting here smiling because, I've been on the same journey as far as like focusing on positivity and the things that I actually want to attract in my life. And then look at the irony of us having this conversation. We literally met today through a mutual friend.
Because that's the algorithm we're on.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is what we want to see. We want to see positive vibes. I don't want to see negative vibes, so I don't want to just you feel me? Like
Yeah.
I walk in at this stage I'm at now. I walk into relationships optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't walk into relationships pessimistic. I walk into them optimistic, thinking about what's the bright things that can come out of this situation. I'm not thinking about what can go wrong.
Yep.
You
That's
feel me?
exactly what it is. And that goes for all type of relationships. And I really hope you guys are not really missing the message, because earlier you said something which was like a whole word within itself. If you want better relationships, I'm paraphrasing, but you were saying something like, if that's what you keep on focusing on, that's what you're going to get. So if you want better relationships, if you're having a hard time right now with your friendships, relationships, family ships, like, start to seek more of it. Separate yourself from that. Detach from those things that you are experiencing, so that way you can start to attach and attract what you are actually seeking. And take some time to like really dig into yourself to figure out what that is.
Right.
Right? All right. So I'm going to shift here into another question.
That's real. I like the vibe.
Appreciate it.
That's real.
What's something that you've learned? Because I'm here to learn as well. Like, I love listening to men. So if y'all listen to each other, like, you would learn so much, and it'll help, your own self. Right. So what's something that you've learned the hard way about communicating with women?
Ooh, is I feel like sometimes as men, we apologize the way we want to apologize. We love them the way we want to love them. We need to ask them, how do you want to be loved? How would you like, think about it. We don't say stuff like that. How would you like me to make you? What do you like? What do you want? What do you like? What makes you feel good? We gotta stop loving people the way we want to love them. And we gotta ask them, how do you want to be loved? It's kind of like giving somebody a massage and rubbing their leg with their back hurt. I'm rubbing your arm, but you really want me to rub your neck. So you have to communicate. You have to ask them, what is the problem? What would you like? How would you like it? Instead of just doing it the way you want to do it and then complaining and saying, I did this for you, I did this for you. And she's saying, I never asked that. That was not what I wanted. I did not need that from you. I did not get with you for this. And that's a mistake I made in my life.
That's a really good one. Yep, that's a really good one. And of course, I'm going to say it's the same for the women as well. And I'm going to take it a step further. In addition, asking is definitely key, right? Because we can't read each other's mind. There's this notion that a lot of women expect for their partners, their men, to read their mind, and men are not the ones to read mind, right? So asking is definitely key. And I will say too, men and women, like, pay attention. A lot of times, like, you can learn that without even having to ask, right? Again, like you were saying, just for the same analogy as far as like massaging, you shouldn't be accidentally massaging her leg if her back hurt. You should have seen at some point in her day, like, dang, her back is hurting.
Are you paying attention?
Because you're paying attention.
You have to study. You have to study someone who you love.
Yeah, be intentional.
You got to study.
That's how you show that you care. And I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference.
Your back hurt. Your back hurt? I noticed that you kept doing it. You all right? And then when she says, I'm actually not all right, then that's when you go. That's when you tend to that area.
And it opens up the door. Because once you do that, she's not going to start to try to reciprocate. Like, dang, he realized that my back was hurting. What's going on with him? And then now you guys are healthy, in a sense, because like in nature, like, we like to compete. Right. It's natural for us to compete, right? We have friendly competition. Yeah.
I like the competition of, let's see who can treat each other better.
Yeah, who can be more intentional.
I like that. That's fire. That's actually fire.
All right, so now, do you think most men feel safe expressing how they really feel? Why or why not?
I don't feel safe. And the reason why I don't feel safe is because I've dealt with women who, in the past. And that's a part that I need to heal from. But that's definitely a part I need to heal from. But I don't feel safe expressing my vulnerable areas because I've had people throw it in my face in the past. So that's like I don't think that's something that you should really, that I don't I don't think that's something you should do is make somebody feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, that's what I experienced a lot. People making me feel bad about me when I opened up. So, no, I don't feel safe doing it. I don't feel safe doing it at all. I kind of feel like it's kind of like telling your enemy, I'm boxing against you. We're in a boxing match, and I'm telling you that my
Where I'm
face
about to
right
go.
here hurts, bro. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna knock me out if you hit me right here. That's kind of like telling a woman,
Mm-hmm.
you hit me right here, it's over. So that's kind of like I don't want to open up and really be vulnerable with women at this stage in my life.
Okay.
It is what it is, to be honest.
Okay. So you did mention this stage in your life.
Yeah.
So now, do you think that you can heal that part of you while in a relationship? Let's say hypothetically it's a healthy relationship, right? To where she shows you that she's not going to do that to you, right? Let's say it's proving, that she's not going to do it. Do you think you do that in the relationship, or do you feel like you need to do that outside of the relationship before you can enter that healthy relationship?
Kind of feel like both. Definitely feel like both. We're never going to be completely healed 100%, but I think that you have to have a certain percentage of you has to be healed enough to even go into that relationship. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then healing is a constant journey. It's a constant journey.
That
Because you
is.
may feel like you're healed, but you might only be 70%.
That is. I can definitely agree with that. Like I know, like you said, you're never really done healing. Like I know I've personally done a lot of work to where I feel like I can, be in a relationship and navigate that and not be triggered by any of my past hurts to, negatively affect that relationship. And then being in that space and realizing that that healthy part, my healthy partner actually still helps to heal me. Because I know for me, I can, like, I can be sweet, but if I were to get angry, I can get like really, really angry. And my partner now, he's not an angry person. So, and he doesn't really like arguing or, those so it's forced me or more so helped me when it does come on time to like have a tough conversation to like not do so with anger and just like smoothly navigating that. And that's a challenge.
You can't argue by yourself.
You can't. You can't.
If somebody like, yo, I'm not arguing with you, man. That's not even time anymore. That's really like the medicine to a person who gets angry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not even gonna allow you to get angry. How about that?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not gonna give you that. I'm not gonna. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing the angry stuff. No.
And in that sense, I've seen it. Like it helped me. Like the thought of even being angry is like no longer even there. Because it's just like there's no need for it. Yeah, and there's no need for it anymore.
I'm not the type of guy. I don't want to do that. You feel me? Like, that's real. So shout out to him. For real.
All right. And now, what's something that you've been learning lately when it comes on to a relationship and showing up emotionally?
Is understanding that there's balance and the world does not revolve around me. And just because I'm doing something does not mean that they're gonna understand. And when you're balanced and when you understand that you have to be balanced, you have to consider the other person, how they feel, and you can't just do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Just because I want pizza does not mean that they want pizza. So maybe I should ask them, hey, what you in the mood for? Because some people is bringing pizza home and they saying, you ate, didn't you?
I've heard that. Yeah.
That's not what she wants. I took you on vacation, but I really didn't want to go to Mexico, bro. I kind of was feeling, feeling Russia, bro. I didn't want to go to Mexico. Man, you ungrateful. But if you would try to be understanding, understand it's a two-way street. So you feel me?
And as you said that too, it got me thinking. Another key thing is like alignment, because that right there is like showing a misalignment. Where it's like, if he's excited to go to Mexico and you're like, I already did that, or that's not the vibe I'm feeling for. I'm feeling for something more chill, right? Because you might go to Mexico and this might be the vibe to like turn up when she's like, I just want to go on a retreat and chill and sip some whatever, or something like that. And I think the key thing is alignment. And a lot of times, we enter into relationships without even acknowledging or looking at if we align with that partner. right? We may enjoy them physically, we
Right.
may enjoy them, emotionally, you may be attracted to them,
Right.
but it's just like, what are their dreams and their goals?
Mm.
Where are they trying to go? Like, what are the things that are important to them? How do they feed themselves mentally? Not just, food, but like, what are the things that you're consuming? What does their algorithm look like?
And that comes from being emotional and being able to receive the answer by accident. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was not.
Asking
I
that.
am. I am not an emotional person. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm stern. I'm all this stuff. But I feel like in order to survive in this world, you have to kind of sort of like be like that. You can't just be unemotional. Unemotional. If you're not emotional available to nobody, then you're no good to nobody. Because nobody's gonna feel comfortable talking to you. Nobody's gonna feel comfortable opening up about their things that they're going through. Because they're gonna be like, he's not emotional. He's not gonna understand. I'm crying. I'm not gonna call him when I'm crying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You
Mm-hmm.
have. It's like you got to be the person that somebody to somebody, bro. I mean, not to, you don't got to be the random people in the street. It's like,
Mm-mm.
yo, if a family member or a significant other or somebody is going through a rough time and you can't be there for them, then you really not good for nothing, bro. So he's like, you got to learn how to be more emotional. Just to answer your question, like I'm learning to be more of an emotional person to to the people I love. I want them to feel comfortable coming to me.
That's
You know what
fair.
I'm saying?
I can respect that, and that's fair. And like you said, you're more of a stern person, and that is also important for especially a man, right? Because the man is the head of the household.
Yeah.
He's leading the household,
Yeah.
so you have to be able to lead from a place of being stern, right? You can't lead from a place of being emotional.
Even as a leader of an operation, I can't, you know, I can't say, oh, my stomach is hurting, the operation is done.
Mm-hmm.
I still got to get up and try. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, that's a lot of the reason why my emotions are like they be on like pause because I can't afford to have them at this moment. I can't
Mm-hmm.
afford to be emotional because I'm gonna be emotional, so the business ain't gonna get done. It don't work.
Right.
If I told you I'm coming to this podcast and we gonna be here, I'm coming to the group chat. You better believe I'm at the group chat. Stomach hurting, head hurting, whatever's happening. He said he was gonna be here, and that means word is everything.
And
So I
that's
gotta make it
integrity.
happen. You
That's
feel me?
integrity.
You
Doing
feel
what you
me?
said you was gonna do,
Right.
even after the feeling of it has already left, and
There
still
we go.
showing
That
up.
that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that's that was some talk right there.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
when you agreed to it, you
The
wanted to
feeling was
do it.
there.
But a
Mm-hmm.
week later, you may not. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, you ain't doing it now because the feeling ain't there no more.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
And I'm definitely, I'm also really talking to myself, right? So I'm not trying to act like I know it all. Most of the times when I'm speaking, these are things I'm reminding myself on a daily to help me accomplish my goals and do what I got to do.
You gave
And
your word. Stand on it.
Mm-hmm. And I will say, in that same breath, like you said, finding that balance between everything, because you do still need to be able to like acknowledge your emotions, right? You still need to recognize like, okay, they are there, and this needs to be dealt with. Right now may not be the time because I committed to something, and I can still follow through,
Right.
right?
But
But
immediately after,
you need to
I'm about to
address it,
cry in the
yeah,
car.
because or right,
I'm
or
crying in
if
the
your
car.
stomach hurt, you might need to throw up and let it
I'm
out
about to
and let
throw up
that
in the
go.
car. I'm throwing up as soon as I'm done.
But then again, now I'm thinking about it just for the sake of like the joke. If your stomach is hurting and you was on the way here, throw it before you come here, so that way we don't have no accidents on set type situation. But
Please
yeah.
don't throw up on set.
All right, so I'm going to wrap up with this one now. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice
Man,
about love, communication, or just
man.
like being a man,
Mm.
what would that be?
Mm. Take the time to get to know the people who you date before you date them. Take the time to not put yourself in bad situations. Get to know people before you commit to a relationship. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could spend days, months, weeks, years with the wrong person because you didn't get to know them.
Mm.
And learn how to disconnect yourself from people when you realize that they're no good. Real talk. That's in the dating game. I would tell them. A lot of things I would tell myself other
Mm-hmm.
situations. But
Outside.
when it
Okay.
comes out of that, one thing my pops told me: you hang around somebody long enough, you will fall in love. Don't matter who they are. You can end up falling in love with somebody who begs for change at the grocery store. because we're loving people.
Mm-hmm.
If you hang
Naturally.
around that
Mm-hmm.
person for long enough, they could be
That's
a
true.
bad person, a good person, a nasty person, or whoever type of person. If you hang around these people long enough, you will fall in love. That's the world we live in. So you got to be able to disconnect yourself fast when you see that they're no good. That's what I would tell my youngest.
Agreed, agreed. And you said that you would do more, so I'm going to ask you to elaborate a little bit on what would you tell yourself outside of just like relationship stuff, but like about being a man or as a man.
Once you get the feeling that people don't like you, or you get the feeling like somebody's no good in the streets and business or whatever, follow your gut. Your gut won't probably your gut is really God
Mm-hmm.
talking to you. Your gut is God. God is. You ever get the hair standing up on your arm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you wonder why? And then usually when you look, it's like, oh, this is why I'm like, because it's like God saw that for you. He didn't want you to be in that situation. So really follow your instincts. Follow God. You know what I'm saying? Don't put yourself in situations that's no good for too long, because it could lead to jail, death, problems, issues. Follow your gut. That's what I would tell myself.
I love that. I could definitely always elaborate, but I'm gonna let it wrap up with that one because I'm gonna just add the Bible verse where it says, God abides in you as long as you abide in Him, right? So God is within you. So I think that's like the perfect way to wrap it up is to listen to your gut, like you said. Listen to that. The God, His Spirit is within you.
Yeah.
So that gut feeling is not necessarily. You have to listen to your gut.
Realize when God is talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Realize when God is warning you. But that comes from
You
you
gotta
have
be
to
in
have that
tune.
connection with God.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You gotta have that. And if you ain't got that connection with God, I promise, if you get that connection with God, you probably won't make certain mistakes. We're always gonna make mistakes, but we won't make as many
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
we have that connection with
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
because He will steer us in the right direction.
For sure. For
Feel
sure.
me?
Yes. Yes.
What's
Yes.
your sign, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm a Capricorn. Yeah.
Capricorn. Okay.
For
Okay.
those that
Okay.
stirring,
Natural
no
leaders.
emotion.
Yeah. 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 They are. They are. Okay. All right. So thank you guys for joining us here in the podcast, and you can go ahead and shout out your socials.
At Tyson Kruze, TysonKruze. That's on all platforms. Search Tyson Kruze on YouTube. Search me on all platforms. I'll come up. And yeah.
And he has some great content as well. That's why, because you guys know I try my best to be very intentional. No, I am very intentional. I don't try. I'm very intentional when it comes on to the things that I do and trying to get a message out there. And I was checking out your page before we met, because again, this is our first
I
time,
really
right?
appreciate it.
So yeah. When I saw the stuff on there, I was just like, all right, you look like you got some sense. You got something up going on there.
You live
And
in a world some people ain't
no, you really do. And this conversation, I think, was also proven of that. For this to be like our first real conversation or first conversation at all.
It's gonna be part 2 and 3 and 4.
There we go. Say less. So with that, tune in next time for the next time I do have Tyson in here and for our next episode next week. And bye.
No doubt. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you as well.
Good
For
convo.
real. Yeah.
Great convo.
It was.
Got some really good messages out there too.
Yeah, we did.